Welcome back to the space of stillness. Before we walk together through the lush green tea hills of Yunnan, let yourself truly be present here, right now. Returning is never too late, for every heart always has a small path leading home, where the morning mist will wash away worries, and the warm fire will soothe the scratches in your soul. If you love these peaceful moments, please subscribe and turn on notifications so we can accompany each other on many more healing journeys. Now, choose the most comfortable position on your soft bed. Feel the weight of your body slowly sinking, supported by the supple mattress. You are in a space of absolute safety. There is nothing to do, nowhere to be. There is only you and your own gentle breath. Close your eyes very gently, like the way petals fold at sunset. Take a deep breath in through your nose, feeling the cool air filling your chest, expanding your lungs. And then exhale very slowly, very long through your lips, releasing all burdens, all lingering thoughts of a long day. We begin the journey of relaxation from your toes. Feel your toes stretching, melting. The relaxation spreads to the top of your feet, your heels, and then envelops your ankles. Your legs, which have supported you through so many miles, are now resting completely. A feeling of warmth and relief spreads to your calves, knees, and thighs. Your entire legs are now heavy, warm, and fully relaxed. That relaxation continues to flow like a small stream, weaving up to the hips and abdomen. Let your belly soften with each breath. Inhale, the belly rises gently. Exhale, the belly falls softly. Feel the stillness spreading to each vertebra of your back, from the lower back, along the spine, up to the shoulders. Let your shoulders drop, releasing all the pressure weighing them down. Next, let the relaxation flow down both arms, through the elbows, wrists, to the very tips of your fingers. Do you feel a gentle, warm vibration in your palms? That is the energy of peace being present. Now, pay attention to the neck and nape. All stiffness vanishes. The relaxation spreads to the jaw. Let your lower jaw drop slightly. Relax your lips. Relax your cheeks. Feel the muscles around your eyes relaxing completely. Your forehead becomes smooth, like a lake without a ripple in the early morning. Your whole body now is like a fluffy cloud, weightless, floating in the vast air. In this silence, listen to the rhythm of your heart, slower, steady, peaceful. You are gradually detaching from the noisy world outside to enter a magical inner world. Imagine you are standing before an old wooden gate covered in green moss. Behind that gate is a misty valley where the tea hills are waiting for you. The space around you begins to change. The air becomes more humid and cooler. There is the scent of damp earth, the scent of green leaves, and the scent of beginnings. You feel a soft glow of light piercing through your closed eyelids. It is the first dawn of distant Yunnan. Let your mind drift with the sound of the wind whispering through the lush green tea terraces, the sound of drizzling rain pitter-pattering on thousands of young tea leaves and multi-layered dark gray tile roofs splashing. The rainwater flows gently along the winding wooden path, weaving between the warm golden brown rammed earth houses, and from within the traditional kitchen, the crackling sound of the fire rises softly, bringing a gentle warmth. Your relaxation now has become deeper. You are ready to let go of the tired self and embody the footsteps of Elias, the wanderer finding his way home. Let the warmth from that phantom kitchen fire envelop you, warming your soul. You feel secure. You feel protected. All sounds around you are now just pleasant, rhythmic background noises like a lullaby from Mother Earth. Pitter-patter, crackle, splash. Those sounds blend together, creating a peaceful cocoon, embracing you in this state of absolute relaxation. The boundary between reality and dream begins to blur. You no longer try to think about the story's content, but you are feeling it through every pore, every cell. The stillness of the tea hills is soaking deep into your mind, dispelling the last remnants of tension. Continue to maintain a steady breath. Each inhale is a new breath of life. Each exhale is a complete letting go. You are moving closer to the threshold of sleep, where the morning mist calls back the most beautiful memories, and where sacred maternal love is waiting to heal the deepest hidden hurts. Your body now is very still. Your mind now is very quiet. You are melting into the space, becoming a part of the mist, a part of the tea hills, a part of eternal peace. No more worries, no more regrets. Only the pure presence of tranquility remains. Pitter-patter, the sound of rain falling on the tea leaves seems to be telling an ancient story. Crackle, the sound of the fire in the kitchen seems to be inviting a child from afar to return. Splash, the sound of flowing water seems to be washing away all troubles into the heart of the tolerant Mother Earth. You are sinking deeper, deeper still into a state of relaxation. This grounding is the perfect stepping stone for you to receive the story of Elias, of Leora, and of the mother who turned into morning mist to protect her beloved son. Let yourself drift in the most natural way, in the warm arms of stillness, as your body has completely sunk into stillness. Let your imagination gently open a door. You find yourself standing at the edge of a vast valley in Yunnan, where time seems to have stood still for centuries. The air here is thick with the humidity of the mist, carrying the characteristic chill of the highlands, but it is incredibly fresh and sweet. You take a deep breath, and your chest fills with the pure fragrance of young tea leaves, mingled with the rich scent of red earth after the early morning drizzle. Before you, the terraced tea hills appear like a grand work of art by nature and humans. They are not dry, straight lines, but soft, rhythmic curves following the mountain slopes, looking from afar like emerald silk ribbons stacked upon each other to the horizon. Each terrace is a layer of life, where thousands of green tea buds are reaching out to catch the morning dewdrops. The mist here is not a blinding white, but a pale yellow mist fragile as silk, veiling the valley, the first rays of the new day, strong and resilient, pierce through the thick mist, creating brilliant beams of light shining directly onto the ground, casting long, warm shadows on the tea rows. You begin to walk. Under your feet is not hard concrete, but a winding wooden path, grayed by sun and rain, but very sturdy. The sound of shoe soles tapping lightly on the wood echoes a dull thud. Thud in harmony with the drizzling rain still pitter-pattering on the foliage. This wooden path leads you through the traditional rammed earth houses of the local people. These are houses with unique architecture, with thick rammed earth walls, glowing golden brown like honey in the sun. The color of the earth brings a sense of sturdiness and warmth, as if they grew from the heart of Mother Earth to protect humans through many stormy seasons. The roofs are a delicate blend of the ancient Hakka style and the rustic touch of the Yunnan region. Layers of dark gray tiles are stacked on top of each other in many tiers, with a moderate slope for rainwater to easily slide down. You look up at the eaves, where red silk lanterns are gently swaying in the wind. The red of the silk lanterns stands out against the golden brown of the earth walls and the lush green of the tea hills, creating a cozy, inviting focal point. The light from the lanterns pierces through the thin silk, emitting a hazy glow, guiding wanderers still lost in the mist. Along the wooden path, rainwater from the tile roofs flows down, gathering into small splashing streams. The sound of flowing water is not noisy, but pitter-pattering, whispering like the song of heaven and earth. Water weaves through rock crevices, flows along the terraces, carrying tiny wild petals towards the downstream. You stop by the base of a tree with sparse large leaves by the road. The broad leaves shield you from the thin rain. From this position, you can see the panoramic view of the valley slowly waking up. The distant forested hills appear hazy in the mist, undulating like the backs of sleeping giants. Everything around you exudes an extraordinary tranquility. There is no engine noise, no haste of the city, only the sounds of nature, the sound of the wind rustling through the tea bushes, the sound of birds calling faintly in the mist, and the sound of endless drizzling rain. Elias, our main character, is also standing there in the middle of this space. He feels the contact of his skin with the cool air. He reaches out to touch a wooden post on the porch, feeling the rough, old, but familiar texture. In this space, the boundary between past and present seems to vanish. Those rammed earth houses have stood there for hundreds of years, witnessing generations born and raised. They preserve the warmth of kitchen fires, the scent of dried tea, and the stories of joy and sorrow of those who once took refuge under those dark gray tile roofs. As you step deeper into this space, you will feel your soul becoming light, as if the dust of the outside world has been washed clean by this morning mist. The light in the valley right now is magical. The intersection between the darkness of the mist and the brilliance of the early sun creates a mystical palette. The green of the tea, the golden brown of the earth, the red of the lanterns, and the silver gray of the mist. Your every breath now is in sync with the heartbeat of the tea hills. You are no longer an observer from afar. You have become a part of this Yunnan painting. You feel a strange connection with this land, a deep peace beginning to bloom in your heart. The crackling of fire from a nearby kitchen begins to reach your ears, carrying the promise of a hot cup of tea and intimate conversations. This space is not just a geographical location, but a space of memory and healing. It is enveloping you, soothing you, preparing you to hear about a journey of return full of emotion. Let yourself immerse a little more in the beauty of the morning mist and the tea hills before we and Elias step over the wooden threshold to find back the things that were lost. In the middle of the quiet space of the Yunnan tea hills, Elias stands still like a wooden statue carved in the mist. Each of his footsteps sinks slightly into the wet soil, the cool sensation soaking through his soles, reminding him that this is not a dream. The rustling of tea leaves under each step blends with the pitter-patter of drizzling rain on the lush green young leaves. He reaches out to touch a young tea bud, feeling its juiciness and intense vitality. A round dewdrop rolls along his finger, crystal clear and sparkling under the weak morning sun, trying to pierce through the thick mist. What is it whispering? Elias murmurs, his voice dissolving into the air. That dewdrop seems to carry a whole sky of gentle childhood memories. The mornings his mother held his hand to the hills to pick tea, a small figure submerged in the white mist, his own clear childhood laughter echoing across the slopes, and above all, the warmth from the fire in the old rammed earth house, where every storm stopped behind the door. The rain still falls steadily, the rhythm of pitter-patter, pitter-patter, on the tile roofs and tea leaves like a sad lullaby. Elias pulls up his collar, trying to find some warmth from the old fabric, then continues walking. He has been a true wanderer, his feet worn out through many strange lands, from brilliant city lights to arid deserts. But for 15 years, his heart has never truly been at peace. 15 years ago, he left in a blind rage of youth. He had a heated argument with his mother just because of the desire for so-called freedom. He thought life around these tea plants was too narrow and cramped. He said words as harsh as knives, cutting into the heart of that hard-working woman. Then he slammed the door, leaving this land without a word of farewell, without looking back once. From then on, he threw himself into earning a living, trying to forget his roots. But whenever his heart was tired, when the glitz of the world exhausted him, his feet unconsciously led him back to the green hills, where the morning mist seemed to be silently embracing the memories he cowardly wanted to sleep through. Suddenly, from the winding wooden path leading up, the sound of light footsteps rises, cutting through his thoughts. A young girl appears in the hazy mist, her long slender hands skillfully holding a bamboo basket darkened by time. It is Leora. She stops, her eyes wide with surprise. Then a familiar smile blooms on her lips, as radiant as a ray of sun lost in the mist, Elias. Oh my God, is it really you, Elias? You're back. It's been so long. I once thought you'd never return to this place. Elias looks up at her, his throat bitter, his voice hoarse from long suppressed emotions. Leora, you've grown so much. Actually, I just wanted to see the tea hills one last time. Then I'll go. Leora nods slightly, her eyes glowing with warmth, but also tinged with a lingering sadness. Do you still recognize me? When you left, I was just a child running after you asking for candy. Your mother, Mrs. Lan. She used to mention you in the afternoons sitting on the porch. Do you want to come inside, Mrs.? Celine is brewing tea in the kitchen. The drizzle is getting heavy. It's very cold. To come in and warm up a bit, they walk together slowly along the winding wooden path between the tea terraces. The red silk lanterns sway gently in the wind, emitting a warm, hazy light through the thick mist, looking like small sparks guiding a lost soul home. They enter the nearest rammed earth house, Mrs. Celine's house. Inside, a completely different atmosphere appears. The traditional Yunnan kitchen shows up with a flickering light from the earth stove. Smoke from the boiling clay pot rising gently, blending into the wooden beams, blackened by smoke over many decades. Dried herbs and strings of red chilies hanging from the ceiling create a characteristic scent, both pungent and cozy. A clay teapot is steaming on the stove, gentle morning light filtering through the small window, shining directly onto the drifting tea smoke. The crackling of the fire, crackle, crackle, rises steadily, carrying a faint, smoky smell mingled with fresh tea and forest herbs. Mrs. Celine, a woman of about 60, with a kind face full of time's wrinkles, looks up at the guest. Her eyes light up immediately when they touch Elias's eyes. Elias, Lan's son, I recognize you immediately from that lonely gate. Back already, son? Don't stand there, sit down. I just brewed the best tea of this season. Sit by the fire to warm your body. The mountain mist is very cold. Elias sits down on an old, polished wooden chair. The fatigue accumulated over years of wandering seems to be fading away before the warmth of the fire and the faint crackling of dry wood. Mrs. Celine pours hot tea into a rusty clay cup. The tea fragrance spreads, gentle and pure, like his mother's own whisper long ago, whenever she affectionately woke him up. Leora sits next to him, her voice as soft as the wind. That day, when you left, everyone in the village was very sad, but the most heartbroken person was your mother. She didn't utter a word of reproach. Every morning, she still quietly went to the hills to pick tea alone, and when dusk fell, she sat on the porch, looking down the wooden path, hoping to see the figure of her son returning. Elias bows his head, his thin hands clutching the hot teacup until they are red. I was too selfish, Leora. I was angry with my mother just because she wanted me to stay at the tea hills. I thought I needed freedom, needed the glitzy things in the world out there, I said the heaviest words possible to hurt her, then left without looking back once. 15 years of wandering. I tried to forget everything, but actually, the more I tried to forget, the more the memory and regret persisted. It was like a wound that never healed. Just a light touch of the morning mist makes it ache. Mrs. Selene nods slightly, her voice low, containing the tolerance of someone who has gone through almost a lifetime. Your mother was the person who understood you best in this world, Elias. She was never angry with you. She used to tell me, he's just angry for a moment. He will return, because the morning mist of the tea hills and the warmth of our home fire will call him back sooner or later. Suddenly, the wooden door opens slightly. A gust of wind, carrying the chill and the sound of pitter-pattering rain, floods into the room. A middle-aged man enters, his plastic raincoat drenched in water. It is Theo, the childhood friend, the one who grew up with Elias among the tea fields. Theo stands still for a moment, his eyes wide with surprise. Then, unable to contain his emotion, he rushes over to hug Elias's shoulders tightly. Elias, is it really you? You're back. I heard people buzzing outside. I thought I was dreaming. Do you know that in this village, for all these years, no one has ever forgotten you? The atmosphere in the small kitchen becomes thick with emotion. The fire still crackles, but the sound of rain outside seems to become more intense. Pitter-patter, pitter-patter on the dark grey tile roof. Rainwater flows splashing along the wooden path and the earth terraces, creating a resounding sound. Elias clutches the teacup, memories flooding back like an unstoppable tsunami. The image of two children running carefree among the terrace tea fields, small hands picking each tea leaf to exchange for sweet candies. The evenings sitting by the fire, listening to mother tell fairy tales, and the times he cried bitterly because of a painful fall in the tea hills and was held tight and comforted by his mother. I'm sorry, Theo. I'm truly sorry for disappearing like that. I was too afraid to face the truth, afraid that everyone would despise and reproach me for leaving an old mother alone for all these years. Theo sits down beside him, his voice trembling, his eyes beginning to redden. Your mother passed away 5 years ago, Elias. Until her very last days, she still sat by the small window in this kitchen. Every early morning, she looked out at the tea hills towards the trail, persistently waiting for your figure to appear. She always affirmed to everyone, my son will return. I am never angry with him. I only hope that out there he finds true peace. She passed away on the foggiest morning of the year, when her hands were still clutching a handful of freshly picked tea leaves, as if she were trying to pick one last handful of fresh tea for her son. The sound of rain on the tile roof now sounds like a cry of mourning for an inconsolable sorrow. Rainwater flows, splashing outside the porch, dripping steadily from the grey tile crevices. Elias stands up in shock. He walks to the porch like a soulless person. The morning dew and rainwater hit his face, freezing cold. His heart aches intensely. a pain of permanent loss, the persistent remorse, because those bitter words years ago no longer have a chance to be taken back, and the memory of warm maternal love that he had accidentally discarded, the image of his mother sitting alone by the fire, her blurred eyes looking out at the mist, brewing tea while quietly wiping tears because she missed her son, appears vividly in his mind, heartbreakingly painful. Leora quietly steps behind, placing a gentle hand on Elias's trembling shoulders. Don't blame yourself anymore. Your mother never held any reproach for you. She loved you with the most tolerant heart of a mother. The dewdrops on the tea leaves today, look at them. They sparkle like tears, but are also as pure as forgiveness. Perhaps she herself sent them back, so you would know that mother's love is always present here, gentle, immortal, and ready to forgive all her son's mistakes. In the warm kitchen, Mrs. Selene and Theo still continue to talk softly. She tells Elias again about the mornings his mother, though weak, still tried to go to the hills, about how she always kept his seat in the meal, and about how she always lit a red lantern hanging on the porch every evening, with a strong belief that her son would follow that light to find his way home. Elias turns back inside, his eyes red, but his gaze has become calmer and deeper. He begins to telling everything about the extreme loneliness among the noisy, bustling cities, about the sleepless nights he lay awake just to remember his mother's rough, tea-sap-scented hands, remembering the call Elias, my son, every time dawn broke, and the greatest fear of his life. That was the fear that he had left a heart wound that couldn't be healed for his mother before she closed her eyes. Theo listens, then hugs his old friend tight. Your mother only wanted you to be happy and find yourself. Now you have truly returned among this tea scent and fire. Surely, up there, she's smiling peacefully. Elias cries, belated but necessary tears. They blend with the morning mist still clinging to his cheeks. The crackling of the fire in the kitchen seems to slow down, warmer and more comforting than ever. The rain on the tile roof also gradually subsides from intense pitter-pattering to gentle, rhythmic drops like a lullaby. Rainwater still flows, splashing softly along the wooden paths leading to his heart. Leora smiles gently, her beauty blending into the mystical space. The morning mist never judges anyone, it only quietly rolls on the tea leaves, carrying all the best essence of heaven and earth, of childhood, and of sacred maternal love. And look, the sunbeams are piercing through the mist out there. They always find a way to light the path, leading us back to where we belong. Mrs. Selene pours each person a full cup of tea, her voice as warm as the fire itself. Today, stay here. I will tell you all the old stories by this fire, and tomorrow, when the sun rises, Elias can go with Leora to the hills to pick tea on those lush green terraces. This life is not always about wandering aimlessly in the mist. Sometimes, knowing to stop at the right time, and courageously facing pain is the only way for us to heal our own souls. They sat together all that morning in a kitchen filled with human love. Elias told about his long journeys, about the lands he had passed through, but finally he realized no place had a scent as sweet as his home tea hills. Theo laughed aloud, recalling the naughty memories of the two of them in the past when they stole young corn to roast in this fire, caught by Elias's mother, but she only smiled kindly, then roasted more for both of them. Leora told about the strangers who once lost their way in the Yunnan mist, and how these tea hills always open their arms to receive every life in need of comfort. Celine lulled them with ancient stories about the legend of mist and sunshine, about how love and memory are the only things that never disappear. They just hide somewhere, waiting for a day we are quiet enough to hear their call. When late afternoon fell, the drizzle had completely stopped. The thick mist began to fade, revealing a vast and majestic landscape of endless lush green tea terraces. The cluster of framed earth houses appeared brilliant under the yellow sun of the late afternoon, with the red lanterns starting to sparkle. Elias stood up, stepped out onto the porch, looking far away. He felt his chest incredibly light. He was no longer an aimless wanderer. Thank you, everyone. I've decided to stay here for a while. Perhaps this is the time for me to relearn how to pick tea in the morning mist, the way I used to do beside my mother. Theo patted his friend's shoulder, his eyes full of support. Your mother's tea land has always been looked after by me and the villagers. It is still green and healthy, still waiting for the true owner to return and care for it. Leora looked at him, her eyes sparkling like early stars. And if you need someone to sit by the fire every evening to listen to the crackling and tell more stories about your mother, I am always here. Mrs. Celine smiled kindly, her smile radiating serenity. I will still brew tea every morning. The morning mist will still continue to fall. The sunbeams will still continue to pierce through this valley, and you will continue to grow. With your mother's love still intact in every breath, they stepped out onto the porch together. The wind blowing through the tea hills carried the fresh breath of heaven and earth. Elias leaned down, gently touching a last dewdrop, still clinging to a tea leaf on the front porch. The dewdrop rolled lightly over his hand, then vanished into the earth, carrying a whisper that only his heart could hear. Son, I was never angry with you. I always love you. When the last intimate words gradually faded in the small kitchen, a gentle silence began to envelop the space. Elias sat there, feeling the warmth from the last teacup spreading from his palms to his heart. Every knot in his heart, the torments of 15 years, was now loosened by the tolerance of those who stayed, and by the pure flavor of his home tea hills. The fire in the kitchen no longer danced fiercely, but turned to a soothing pink-red glow. The charred wood only emitted very small crackle, crackle, sounds as steady as the pulse of a peaceful sleep outside the porch, the pale yellow mist began a miraculous transformation. The late afternoon sunbeams pierced through the mist, no longer harsh but becoming soft, covering everything in a shimmering film. The terraced tea fields, which had just gone through drizzle, now sparkled as if inlaid with millions of tiny diamonds. The lush green of the tea leaves, the golden brown of the earth walls, and the red of the silk lanterns began to blend into each other, blurring in the sight. The boundary between the rammed earth houses and the distant hills became faint, all as if melting into a far-off memory where pain no longer existed, only understanding and compassion remained. The sound of rain on the tile roof had completely stopped, leaving only the steady dripping of water from the eaves to the wooden path. Plop, 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 plop. The sound grew sparser, more distant, like an hourglass counting the rhythm for rest. Elias felt himself melting away with that mist. He no longer felt the weight of his wet shoes or the chill of the mountain wind. His body was weightless. His mind began to float between reality and illusion. The figures of Leora, Mrs. Celine, and his friend Theo were still there, but they were no longer separate entities, but became warm points of light in a peaceful, still life painting. The intersection between light and darkness, between tea scent and smoke smell, between the painful past and the healed present, created a sense of absolute security. You, who are listening to this story, also let yourself blend into that fading. Feel the space around you gradually becoming thin. The images of the tea hills, the kitchen fire, the young tea buds, all are blurring. Every thought of mistakes or forgiveness is now just a gentle breath. The morning mist has fulfilled its duty. It has called Elias back, and now it is enveloping you to take you into a dream. No more voices, no more plot points, only a deep sense of peace taking over the soul. You feel yourself drifting lightly on the softest mist ribbons towards the horizon, where the last light of the day is fading. The world out there has receded far, far away. Only the gentle warmth of maternal love remains, persistently burning like a small flame in the earth stove, lighting up your sleep. Let everything fade into nothingness. Now, all the sounds of the world have receded, giving way to the absolute stillness of the night, gradually falling over the Yunnan tea hills. You are in a space of protection and love, where every breath of yours harmonizes with the breath of heaven and earth. Feel the pleasant heaviness of your eyelids, the feeling as if there is a gentle, warm hand stroking your forehead, washing away the last wrinkles of thought. In your mind, the fire from Mrs. Helen's kitchen is now just a tiny, warm, and distant pink-red spark. The crackling sound has died down, only a vague vibration in space, lulling you like a promise that everything is okay, everything has been healed. Elias has found the way back, and you have also found a peaceful harbor for your soul. After a long day, the morning mist is no longer the coldness of the great forest. It has turned into a soft, fluffy down blanket, embracing your body, taking you into a weightless state. Pay attention to your breath once more. It has become very slow, very deep, and very natural. Inhale, peace. Exhale, serenity. Each time you exhale, your body sinks a little deeper into the cocoon of sound sleep. The terraced tea hills are now only blurred curves in memory. They are melting into the gentle darkness. The image of the mother clutching a handful of young tea leaves also becomes light as a breeze, carrying the message of eternal forgiveness. You no longer have to try to remember anything, nor do you have to wait for anything. The space around you right now is completely empty and peaceful. Only tolerant stillness remains. You feel yourself drifting on a gentle river of memory where pains have turned into pure white tea blossoms, quietly floating towards the horizon. Tonight, the morning mist will guard the dreams for you. The warm fire will protect your heart, and secret maternal love, whether in the form of mist or smoke, is always there, shielding you in absolute peace. If this story has brought you peace, don't forget to return to us in the following nights to continue the journey of healing the soul. Please hit like and leave a small message under the video. If you feel the warmth from the Yunnan tea hills, but that is for tomorrow. For now, let everything go, sinking deep into sleep. Deeper, deeper, still. Everything has blurred. Only the peaceful darkness and steady breath remain. Good night, my fellow traveler. Sleep well in the arms of morning mist and kitchen fire. Sleep is waiting for you, gentle and sweet as the early morning tea fragrance. You are sleeping. You are truly sleeping deeply.